Newport-Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, is brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
It is now time for Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. And of course, that is exactly what we do in this feature. We take a look at what the issues are, we identify the issues, and then we provide the solutions. Joining us this morning, Branatic Neufville, agronomist out of Zone 1. Branatic, good morning. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me again. I'm doing well so far. Give me thanks for that. How are you doing?
Good. I am great. I'm great. Thank you for asking. Katiesha Allen is Technical Field Officer for Zones 2 and 3. Katiesha, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Althea. Thank you for having me. I am doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I am great. Good to have you on with us. Well, let us jump right in because we do have quite a bit to discuss. Branatic, let me start with you. Could you just give us a quick recap of what the Maniplex technology is? Because our focus this morning is on effective and efficient foliar nutrition with Maniplex liquid fertilizer. The last time you were on, you were talking about Maniplex. So just give us a quick recap of what this technology is all about.
No, good morning again to my listeners. When it comes to delivering effective and efficient foliar nutrition, the Maniplex liquid line, as we mentioned in the previous conversation, is scientifically engineered to outperform conventional foliar fertilizers. The cornerstone of their efficiency lies, as we mentioned previously, in their sugar alcohol technology, which forms highly soluble, low molecular weight nutrient complexes. And these complexes are easily absorbed through the leaf cuticle, entering the vascular system, allowing for true systemic movement. Now, to my farmers, to illustrate, think of traditional foliar fertilizers as vehicles stuck in traffic at a toll booth, lingering in a lengthy line, moving slowly and often delayed in reaching their destination. Now, the Maniplex, in contrast, is like a vehicle equipped with the electronic tag or the T-tag. It bypasses the congestion, zipping through the toll, or what we may say nowadays, skating through the toll, and continues uninterrupted to its destination. Now, in plant terms, that destination includes the fast-growing tissues, the young leaves, the fruiting structure, and roots, exactly where the nutrients are needed in the critical growth stages. Now, because of this superior mobility, the Maniplex line, it guarantees a rapid correction of the nutrient deficiencies. It supports uniform nutrient distribution across the canopy and the root system. It also minimizes the nutrient loss and leaf burn thanks to its low salt index and its gentle formation. So, in summary, the Maniplex line doesn't just offer foliar nutrition. It delivers a technologically advanced nutrient delivery system that enhances absorption, translocation, utilization, enabling the crops to reach their full physiological potential. And this then results in the plant having an improved productivity and superior crop quality even under suboptimal conditions.
Thank you so very much, Bennett. Clearly, you have your finger on the pulse of what is happening with that Maniplex line, and that's a lovely knowledge that you use in terms of the traffic as well, and how it is traffic moves, and how it is that this Maniplex line works. All right, let us bring Katiesha in. Katiesha, having listened to what makes Maniplex technology a cut above the rest, what are some of the actual field conditions which would make the use of these foliar Maniplex products a real plus for farmers?
All right, good morning to the listeners. So Maniplex solar fertilizer are especially valuable under real field condition where soil limitation hinders nutrients uptake. So in alkaline soil, nutrients like zinc, iron or boron often become unavailable due to pH lockout. But foliar feeding with Maniplex bypasses the soil entirely, delivering these nutrients directly through the leaves. In cases of poor root development, whether from early stage, stress, soil compaction, or waterlogging, foliar application ensures that the plants still receive critical nutrients. During the drought period or erratic rainfall, when soil nutrients mobility drops, Maniplex provide a timely and reliable source of nutrients. Additionally, at peak physiological stages like flowering and fruiting, when nutrients demand surges, Maniplex sugar alcohol-based delivery system ensure rapid uptake and systemic movement to areas of active growth. So these field realities make Maniplex an essential tool for maintaining plant health and productivity across a range of challenging conditions.
Right, so no matter what the situation is, Maniplex is there to help. Or let us just do a deep dive in terms of some examples because that is important. And I'll take you both on this issue of some of the most common nutrient deficiency issues observed over varying crop groups with examples. Branatic, let me start with you.
Now, a notable deficiency, I'll say that frequently manifests is the boron, right? And deficiencies in boron are particularly common in crops like your cucurbic. Now, a classic example is seen in melons. Now, when melon plants are deficient in boron, the fruits may develop a twisted or a irregular shape. This is because boron is directly involved in what we call in pectin synthesis. And proper pectin formation is crucial for maintaining the fruit shape and firmness. Other symptoms may include like poor flower yield, poor fruit test, hollow centers. Additionally, this deficiency is mostly seen in alkaline soils where boron becomes less available. Another commonly observed nutrient deficiency is potassium. Now, potassium is an indispensable essential nutrient. Despite that, potassium is paradoxically prevalent deficiency in many crops, especially in crops like bananas, for example. We have leaf marginal burn, where the older leaves develop yellowing at the margin, with later turn browns or necrotic, right? You also have symptoms like your weak stems, reduced fruit size, poor fruit taste, right? Magnesium is another critical element that is integral to numerous physiological processes. Similarly, like potassium, its deficiency is pervasive, especially in crops like your coffee and your tomato. We have symptoms such as the interveinal chlorosis, where areas between the leaf veins they turn yellow, but the veins themselves remain green. They have reduced photosynthesis, and this is because magnesium plays a central role in chlorophyll formation. Not only that, you have a weakened resistance to stress, and you also have reduced plant vigor.
It certainly sounds good. Katiesha, your examples, because I know you have been seeing some of this out in the field. So what have you been noting?
So for iron deficiency, what I've noticed in the field, it is the interveinal chlorosis. This means the yellowing between the veins of the young leaf. And while the veins remain green, new leaves are more affected than the older ones. So in severe cases, the entire leaf may turn yellow or even white, and the leaf tips may become neurotic, which means the tissues are dead in advanced stages. So all of these conditions will affect the overall performance of the crop, ultimately impacting the farmer's profit. So iron deficiency tends to be very common in soil having a high soil pH, which is alkaline soil, and fields that are over-irrigated. And we can revisit the issues of irrigation another time and soil that are compacted, not allowing enough time for the air this morning. So calcium deficiency symptoms are death of growing points, especially in the root and the shoot tips. So the young leaves are distorted, curled, or sticky. So you also have bloomed end rot in tomatoes and peppers, tip burns in lettuce and cabbage, and the roots become short, stubby, and brown. So calcium deficiency tends to be very common in soil with low pH. So the acidic soil, so poorly irrigated, thus limiting the movement of calcium, and finally Field in which excess potassium and magnesium is applied. Excessive use of potassium is a common issue, and magnesium prevents proper uptake of calcium. Also, zinc deficiency. Zinc deficiency have interveinal corrosis of young leaf like iron, but often with smaller leaves. So resetting or short internode leaf appear crowded. So leaves may be missharpened, bronze, or show neurotic spots. So it reduces the leaf size and overall stunt growth. So zinc deficiency is very common in soil with high pH, soil that are sandy, as well as field where there is a over application of phosphorus fertilizers.
Thank you so very much. And Katiesha, with that we can well understand why we separate everything that we're talking about, because there is so much to learn about what is happening with these plants and the deficiencies that you're noting and how it is that you treat with each of these problems. Which leads me back to Branatic, because of course you have gone through your list. Katiesha has gone through hers, but what are the top 4 accounting incidences of nutrient deficiencies?
All right, Miss Alti. When I talk about
Or
the
the
top
top
four,
factors?
right, we talk about the 4 factors accounting for nutrient deficiency. We talk about 1, poor soil fertility, and this is coupled with improper fertilizer uses. Now, when I talk about poor soil fertility, I talk about those that are characterized by inherently low levels of essential nutrients like your phosphorus, your potassium, and also your trace elements, and these directly limit the plant's ability to perform optimally if they are not corrected, right? Separately, you talk about improper fertilizer practices, particularly the over application of certain elements. For example, you're having excess calcium interfere with potassium and magnesium uptake, ultimately resulting in imbalanced plant nutrition. Another factor is the soil pH imbalance, and this is something that farmers tend to overlook. Now, nutrient availability for the farmers, nutrient availability is pH dependent, whereas the nutrients are present, but incorrect pH can block them out. For example, soils that are too acidic, you get an inhibition of your calcium and your magnesium, for example, right? Those nutrients tend to be deficient in soils that are too acidic, right? Now, for soils that are too alkaline, you find out that zinc, iron, and boron become less available, and this results in symptoms like your chlorosis and your teeth burn and your poor flooring, etc. Right? Another major factor of nutrient deficiency incident is impact of soil texture and structure. Another one that is overlooked. Now, soil texture, it affects both nutrient retention and root accessibility. For example, sandy soils, they tend to have a low CEC. And talk about CEC, you're talking about the cation exchange capacity, meaning now they hold fewer nutrients and are much more prone to leaching. Compacted soil, on the other hand, common in clay dominant areas, they restrict root growth and accident movement, and this limits nutrient uptake even if the nutrients are present. Finally, you talk about now water management issue. Now, water management is often overlooked. Both overwatering and underwatering can impair nutrient uptake, leading to deficiency. Now, for those who overwatering, it causes leaching and root suffocation. Underwatering is just as bad, whereby it reduces the nutrient movement, because one thing with water helps to pull the nutrients as well, right? Now, effective irrigation is another critical factor that must be taken into consideration. And when we talk about effective irrigation, what we want farmers to understand is that irrigation must match the soil type. For instance, heavy clay soils, due to their higher water retention and compaction, they generally require lower volume per irrigation cycle, whereas sandy soils require much more frequent yet light application to prevent leaching and stress. Now, Mr. Althea, when these factors are mismanaged, nutrient deficiencies become much more inevitable and this compromises the plant health, leading to significantly reduced yields.
All right. And of course, we have lots more to discuss, but we're on the break. So let me just clear those commercials and come back to you, Branatic and Katiesha. Farm Talk continues here on Power 106 FM. We're inside the feature Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. My guest this morning, Branatic Neufville agronomist out of Zone 1, Katiesha Allen, Technical Field Officer for Zones 2 and 3. And we're taking a look at effective and efficient foliar nutrition with Maniplex liquid fertilizer. They have both taken us through a number of issues that they have been seeing out there in the field in terms of the conditions, and that would make the use of these foliar Maniplex products a real plus for farmers. They've also taken a look at some of the most common nutrient deficiencies and the factors that account for these nutrient deficiencies. And we are continuing our conversation with them now. Katiesha, how impactful would you say can an address nutrient deficiency problem on a farm be to a farmer's overall outcome? So if a farmer notices what you're saying going on and does nothing about it, what is likely to happen?
Yeah, so I'll say if left without proper attention, nutrient deficiencies can have severe economic consequences for our farmers in practical ways. So for this morning, I will highlight a few. So the first one I want to highlight is reduction in yields and quality of produce. So lower productivity, in addition to lower marketable produce, will result in loss of income for our farmers. So the second point I want to also look at is oftentimes in a panic mode, farmers tend to explore different things such as increasing fertilizer application, applying more chemicals, which is often ineffective because proper diagnosis of the situation is missing. This oftentimes results in the problem persisting and the cost of production increase, and the result of the problem persisting and the cost of production making matters worse, yield and quality of the produce are very poor. And the third point I want to look at, Althea, we are oftentimes concerned just about the now, but if left unaddressed, the health of our soils tend to decline over time. So this issue, with this as the years goes by, our ability to achieve quality yield become more and more compromised. So as a sustainable approach of assisting and responding to finding critical solutions.
All right, so we really are hoping that the farmers are paying attention. If you leave these issues unaddressed, then it is really burning a deep hole in your pocket at the end of the day. Because if you notice a problem and you do nothing to fix it, then you're suffering a loss. All right, so Branatic, does crop nutrition then, aided by the use of Fersan's Maniplex line, contribute to effective crop protection?
Absolutely, Ms. Althea. As I often say to my farmers, the Maniplex technology is no joke. Now, proper nutrition, particularly when it is supported by Fertilizers Maniplex line, it plays a foundational role in effective crop protection. To better understand this, plants that receive a balanced supply of essential nutrients, they are better equipped to build strong cell walls, maintain metabolic efficiency, and activate natural defense mechanism against pests and disease. Now, the Maniplex line, it delivers the nutrients like the calcium, the zinc, the boron, the potassium, etc. in a highly mobile plant available form, utilizing the sugar alcohol technology as we often mention. Now, this ensures rapid and targeted movement of nutrients to the growing tissues, the stress points, and the areas of vulnerability. Now, for instance, calcium it strengthens the cell walls, making it harder for pathogens to penetrate, while zinc support the synthesis of enzymes involving systemic acquired resistance. Now, in this way, the Maniplex it don't just correct deficiencies, it also helps the crop to develop structural and biochemical resilience, reducing their susceptibility now to like environmental stressors, to pests, to disease, and ultimately enhancing the overall plant health and yield. So of course, the Maniplex line it definitely contributes to effective crop protection.
Right. So we want to encourage the farmers to pay attention to these issues because, of course, that's why we have a feature such as this one. We're talking about the issues, but we're also putting on the table the solution so farmers, you know exactly what to do. All right, Katiesha, so what products would you use to prevent and correct the most common nutrient deficiencies you cited earlier?
So for boron deficiency, we have the Maniplex boron, and this delivers boron in a highly available form. So this supporting strong cell wall formation and healthy fruit development. We also have the Maniplex potassium. So Maniplex potassium delivers this critical nutrient in a highly absorbable sugar alcohol base formation, allowing for rapid correction of deficiencies and support overall plant vitality. We also have the Maniplex potassium, and this contains 20% potassium in a highly absorbable form that supports a wide range of physiological function and thus correcting the deficiencies rapidly. Also, our Maniplex iron. So the Maniplex iron delivers iron in a form that moves efficiently through the plant's vascular system, quickly correcting chlorosis and restoring healthy green color.
And of course, that's what the farmers want to see in their crops. They want to see that healthy green color. They want to ensure that the crops are doing well. They want to ensure that they have outstanding yields. And of course, that will lead to more money in their pocket. But as you're both so rightly pointing out, we have to ensure that the farmers are paying attention to the issues, noticing what the deficiencies are, and using the products that are available through this Maniplex line to help them correct some of these issues. Also, Branatic, as a technical unit at Newport-Fersan, how have you been leading the charge? How would you say that you have all been leading the charge in ensuring that the most dominant factors triggering these nutrient deficiencies that both yourself and Katiesha have spoken so eloquently about this morning are addressed in a very proactive manner?
All right, well, Ms. Azia, as a technical unit at Newport-Fersan, one of the things we really focus on is not only taking a proactive approach, but also a data-informed approach to tackle the root causes of nutrient deficiencies. Now, firstly, we begin by emphasizing soil and tissue analysis. So we always encourage our farmers to get the soil test done or the tissue analysis. Now, once we identify issues like the fertility gaps, pH imbalances, or structural problems, what we then do is that we tailor nutrient programs that suit the specific crops and the field condition. And you see, how we go about it is not just a nutrient program for the crop, but the field condition as well. Now, the Maniplex line is a key part of our corrective strategy, whereby it rapidly supplies essential nutrients even when soil conditions limit the availability. But beyond product solutions, we actively train and educate farmers through ongoing field visits, technical demonstrations, and structured training sessions. Now, these focuses not only on proper fertilizer use, but also on a broader soil management practices. And this is to build long-term fertility and prevent reoccurring issues, right? All in all, it is a comprehensive effort that we at Newport-Fersan take to not only fix problems, but to also prevent them and thus helping our farmers to grow healthier crops and achieve better yields in a much more sustainable way.
And that is precisely why we have this kind of feature, that we focus on what the issues and challenges are. And it's not that you're focusing just on what it is that can happen, but you're talking about real everyday situations that the farmers are facing there in the field, things that you have noticed, and then, of course, finding the solutions for these kinds of issues. We're just about on the break, so we're going to take that. When we come back, we reiterate those solutions, those issues and solutions, and then we will also get information from you in terms of how to reach out to the team there at Newport-Fersan. So let's just clear commercials and come back. All right, so we're rounding out our conversation now with Branatic Neufville, agronomist for Zone 1, and Katiesha Allen, Technical Field Officer for Zones 2 and 3 with Newport-Fersan, Jamaica. We've been talking this morning about effective and efficient foliar nutrition with the Maniplex liquid fertilizer. Branatic, I'm going to come back to you to quickly reiterate what those issues are. Just tell us what the issues are. Katiesha, I am going to turn to you for a look back at these solutions. Branatic?
No, some of the major issues, as you mentioned previously, that the farmers have an issue with is poor soil fertility, where the soils are lacking in essential nutrients. For example, your boron, your potassium, your magnesium. We also have issues whereas improper fertilizer use, where the over application of certain nutrients is causing antagonism. We have issues such as pH imbalance, where soil becomes too acidic, and as a result, it blocks out certain nutrients. In other cases, the soil becomes too alkaline, and also inhibits the uptake of other nutrients. We have issues regarding overwatering, especially in clay soils, or excessive irrigation in sandy soils. Together, these are some of the farmers' prominent issues that we have encountered with on our day-to-day travel on the road.
Thank you so very much. And just to reiterate the solutions, Katiesha, let me come back to you.
All right, Althea, so for the farmers that are experiencing boron deficiency, the Maniplex boron delivers boron in a highly available form that supports strong cell wall formation and healthy fruit development. For the Maniplex magnesium deficiency, we have Maniplex magnesium, and this delivers critical nutrients in a highly absorbable sugar alcohol base formation, allowing for rapid correction of deficiencies and support the overall plant vitality. For Maniplex potassium, the potassium contains 20% potassium in a highly absorbable form that supports a wide range of physiological function and thus correcting the deficiencies rapidly. And for the Maniplex iron deficiency, we have the Maniplex iron, which delivers in a form that moves efficiently through the plant's vascular system, quickly correcting chlorosis and restoring healthy green color.
Right. So the fact is that no matter the challenge, you all have a solution, right?
That's right. And also, for issues regarding the pH imbalance, we want our farmers to know that at Newport-Fersan, we have our soil ameliorant. So for those farmers whose soil tend to be too acidic, we have our calcifersan that they can use to increase the soil pH. And for those struggling with excessively alkaline soil, we have our sulfursan to reduce soil pH. So at Newport-Fersan, we have a whole catalog of solutions to tackle whatever issues that farmers are facing.
Branatic, how does one get in touch with you?
So you can contact, you can visit our website, right, to see the agronomist for the different zone, or you can contact Newport-Fersan at 967 5815. And for farmers on the zonal region that would like to get in contact with me personally, you can contact me at 552-0520.
Thanks. And Katiesha?
All right, so persons who want to contact me personally, you can contact me at 876-864-4087. And I'll repeat that, it's 876-864-4087.
All right. Thank you both for this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with you and getting information into the hands of our farmers. It is critical if we are to increase the production levels, but at the same time, take a look at how it is that we can maintain good soil health. Then, it is a win-win for our farmers. So thank you both for the comprehensive information that you have shared with us this morning. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Branatic and Katiesha.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
A pleasure. Pleasure to have had you on. Branatic Neufville, agronomist out of Zone 1, Katiesha Allen, technical field officer, Zones 2 and 3, Newport-Fersan, Jamaica. And this has been another in the series, Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. This morning we took a look at effective and efficient foliar nutrition with the Maniplex liquid fertilizer line. So help is there for you. Help is there for you if you have the challenges. So the challenges that we have spoken about this morning, you can reach out to the team there at Newport-Fersan. Let us just take a quick word from our sponsors.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.